various diseases and their causal organisms. Children, you know that microbes, they are cosmopolitan in nature and they are found everywhere. Now the question arises, every day we are exposed to large number of infectious agents, but all those infectious agents are not capable of causing us diseases. Why? So the answer of this question is, this is due to the immune system which is present in a body. So a body is designed very well, children. Here various cells, they are there which fight against these microbes and kill these microbes, preventing us from getting diseased. So today we will study about our immune system and our immunity. Now children, first of all we should know what is immunity. Ability of the body to fight infectious agents. What are infectious agents? You know, various type of microbes which attack a body, like virus, bacteria, etc. Right? So ability of body to fight against these infectious agent, it is said to be the immunity, right? And this immunity is provided by the immune system which is present in a body. So if you have a strong immune system, then you will not be able to get disease faster than that person who has a very weak immune system. So children, you have to build your strong immune system by adopting a healthy lifestyle. Okay. Now, on the basis of the immunity possessed by the body, immunity can be of two types. What are those two types? Innate immunity and acquired immunity. Okay. So immunity which is there in your body, it may be innate, that is, it is from birth. That is that immunity which you get from your parents, right? It is said to be the innate immunity. And the immunity which you acquired during your lifetime, right? That means if you are adopting the healthy lifestyle, then your immunity will develop, your immune system will become much more stronger. So that will be the acquired immunity. Later on we will study about the innate immunity as well as acquired immunity in detail. So children, here are some important terms which you should know to understand this topic well. Okay, so these are few terms which I am discussing one by one. First is immunity, that I have already told you, that the ability of body to protect against a type of foreign bodies. These foreign bodies may be bacteria, virus, any toxic substance like snake venom is there, any toxic substance which enter in a body. So the ability of body to protect against the type of foreign body, it is said to be the immunity. Now immunology. Immunology, it is the science dealing with the various phenomena of immunity. So in immunology, we will study about the types of immunity like active immunity, acquired immunity, different types of immune responses, autoimmunity is also there, allergies, they are there, immunization is there, vaccination is there. All these things we will study in the immunology. So science dealing with the various phenomena of immunity is said to be immunology. Now third is immune response. So children, whenever any microbe or foreign body attack a body, then what happens? There is a type of response, right? You later on I'll tell you that these foreign body, they are said to be the antigens, and antibodies are produced in response to these antigens. Okay, so production of antibody is a type of immune response. Okay, so little bit you have studied in lower classes also about these types of immune responses. Now we come to antigen, substance that stimulate the production of antibody. Like microbes when enter inside a body, they release a substance which is said to be the antigen, and this antigen will stimulate body cells to release a substance which is said to be the antibody. Okay, so antigen is a substance that stimulate the production of antibodies. Now come to the antibodies. Immunoglobulins, you know children, globulin, it is a type of protein. Okay, immunoglobulins which are produced in the body. So antibodies, they are nothing, they are the chain, polypeptide chain, that is a protein which are made up of, and these proteins, you know children, they are made up of amino acids. So immunoglobulins which are produced in the body in response to antigen or foreign bodies. As I discussed earlier, that whenever antigen enter in a body, it will help in the production of antibodies. And what are these antibodies? These antibodies, they are the proteins, they are the protein molecules, and antigen lead to the production of antibodies. Okay, now the term immunoglobulin. Immunoglobulin, they are also known as antibodies, and they are the glycoprotein molecules. And biomolecules, you studied about all these things, and they are produced by the plasma cells. You know, blood has a plasma and it contains white blood cells. Okay, they act as a critical part of immune response by specifically recognizing the binding to a particular antigens. Later on, children, in this chapter we will study the structure of antibody, and then I'll tell you that they have antigen binding site, right? And what are antigens? They are the foreign bodies like bacteria, virus, or any other toxic material. They are the foreign body. So these antibody, they bind with the antigen, right, and leading to the destruction of that antigen and saving our body from the diseases. So if somebody asks what are antibodies, what is the nature of antibodies, so they are protein. Keep this thing in mind, that they are the protein which are made, especially a glycoprotein molecules. Okay, now immunity and its type. Children, you know, earlier I told you that immunity, they are of two types: innate immunity and acquired immunity. So acquired immunity, it is further divided into natural and artificial. Natural, you know that naturally if the immunity is there in a body, then it is said to be the natural, and artificial immunity if the immunity is getting from outside. So natural and artificial immunity, they are in turn divided into passive and active immunity. So immunity are of two types, children. Remember, it is given in your NCERT book, that is innate immunity and acquired immunity. And acquired immunity is further divided into natural and artificial immunity. Now one by one we will study in detail about innate immunity and acquired immunity. So innate immunity, keep this thing, children, in mind, it is non-specific. In your book it is given non-specific type of defense. Here, what is the meaning of non-specific? Non-specific means this type of immunity is capable of, means if this type of immunity is there in your body, it is not pathogen specific, means it is not particular for particular type of microbe. Suppose different type of bacteriums come in a body, and this type of immunity can act on more than one type of bacteria. Okay, if it is acting on more than one type of bacteria, it is said to be non-specific. Means this the cells of the immune system, they are capable of killing different type of microbes, right? So it is not specific. Okay, so here it is written that a non-specific immune cell is a immune cell that respond to many antigens simultaneously. If more than one antigen is coming in a body, then these cells, they will kill all the antigens. They are not specific for particular type of antigen. Okay, so you know children, macrophages, neutrophil, dendritic cells, these are the, or these all cells, they are the immune cells, right? So these cells of innate immunity system do not have specific responses, means they are not specific to a particular type of microbe. Okay, so any type of foreign invader come, they will act on that foreign invader and try to kill that foreign invader, right, using the same mechanism. And one important thing about innate immunity is that it is this immunity is present at the time of birth. We do not acquire this immunity during the time of birth. Child has this type of immunity. That means this immunity is acquired by the baby from their parent. So you can say it is genetic also. That means, so this type of immunity is acquired by the baby at the time of its birth. Okay, now the innate immune system include different types of barriers, right? So first is physical barrier. You know children, skin is the most important part of the body and it form a protective layer in a body. So skin is the most important part and it prevents the entry of the organism. So it acts as a physical barrier. That means it is also the part of immune system which will not allow microorganism to enter directly into a body. Suppose you met with an accident and or somehow your any part of the body get hurt and cut is there in your body part, then doctor always said that you have to cover that part, or you apply the antiseptic or the antibacterial medicine there, or you cover it with the band-aid. What is the reason behind it, right? The reason is that now your skin is the physical barrier, that is the skin, it is ruptured, and now the microbes, they are in direct contact with your blood, and as they are in direct contact with your blood, they will readily go to your bloodstream and result in the different type of diseases. Okay, so this skin, it acts as a very important physical barrier. Beside this, mucus coating of the epithelial lining, you know, in respiratory tract, in gastrointestinal tract and urogenital tract, right, the mucus coated layer is there along with the cilia. So this mucus, it helps in the trapping of microbes, right? So you know children, if I give you the example of the respiratory tract, you blow, if you in the morning you clean your nose, right? So the mucus comes out, and along with that mucus many microbes also come out. So it is suggested always that you have to clean your nose every morning and evening, so that the microbes which are there get entrapped in your mucus, it comes out from your body. So this mucus coating of the epithelial lining, gastrointestinal, urogenital tract, they also helps in the trapping microbes entering in a body. Okay, now the other barrier is the physiological barrier. You know children, acid in stomach, you all are familiar with the hydrochloric acid which is present in a stomach. And what is the function of this hydrochloric acid? It kills the microbes present. In the lower classes you studied about it, that it kills the microbes present in a food, right? Beside this, Saliva, it contains enzyme that is said to be the salivary amylase. It also helps in killing the germs which comes along with your food. Like same way, tears, lacrimal gland are there in a eye, side of the eye, lacrimal gland or tear glands, they are there. They also it contain lysozyme, and this lysozyme has a antibacterial or antimicrobial uh, property. So it kill the microbes which are present in the uh, inner eyes. So these physiological barrier, they are very very important for us. Okay, now we come to the cellular barriers, right? These cellular barrier, they include um, white blood cells of a body, right? Children, white blood cells, they act as a soldier, and they are mainly responsible for the killing of germs which enter inside a body. So the type of WBCs, like polymorphonuclear leukocyte, PMNL. So this PMNL or polymorphonuclear leukocytes, they are actually the granular white blood cells or granular leukocytes that include eosinophil, right? Neutrophils. So these neutrophils, eosinophils, they are the example of polymorphonuclear leukocyte, and the most important characteristics of this polymorphonuclear leukocyte is that they contain granules, and in these granules there are certain enzymes which helps in the killing of microbes, right? Beside this, monocytes and natural killer. These natural killer, they are the type of lymphocytes. They are the different types of lymphocytes which are present in a blood, right? And these macrophages, all these cells, they are responsible for the phagocytosis. Phagocytosis means they entrap the microbe and then they kill the microbe. So these cells, they are responsible for the destruction of microbes, right? So polymorphonuclear leukocytes, which includes eosinophil, neutrophils, etc., monocytes, natural killer, and macrophages, right? So these are the various types of cellular barriers which are present in our body, which helps in killing the or destroying the microbes. Now the most important, and again it is important for your NEET and other examination, so mark it important. The most important barrier is cytokine barrier. What are actually these cytokine barrier? The cells which get infected with virus, they secrete proteins, and these proteins, they are said to be interferons. Okay, this is very important, mark it important, it is given in your NCERT book. So whenever the virus infected cells, they are there, they will secrete proteins which are said to be interferons, and these interferons will protect the non-infected cell for further viral infection. So once the cell is getting infected with the virus, automatically they will start releasing these proteins which are said to be interferons, and these interferons will prevent the further viral infections. Okay, now we come to the acquired immunity. So a clear cut difference is there in the acquired immunity and the innate immunity. Children, I told you that innate immunity is a non-specific type of immunity, while the acquired immunity, it is a specific type of immunity. And what does it mean? That it is a pathogen specifics. That means one type of immune cell will destroy a particular type of pathogen. Suppose two bacterium, they are coming, one of typhoid and other of tetanus, then two different cells will be able to kill or to destroy these pathogens. Okay, so they are pathogen specific. And one important characteristics is there, that it is characterized by the memory. Means here in the innate immunity, the need of memory is not there, because the the innate immunity is present in an organism from birth, right? It is present since birth, that is, no memory is required in this innate immunity. But acquired immunity, it is characterized by a memory, means once any organism enter inside a body, then against that antigen antibodies they are produced. That means antibodies, if once antibodies are produced, that means certain cells are there which will memorize that that antigen has entered once in a body. So this acquired immunity is characterized by the memory, and it is not present in a body since birth. We acquired this immunity during a lifetime. So these are the major differences between acquired immunity and innate immunity. Now here in the slide you are seeing that it is written that when a body encounters the pathogen first time, it produces a response. Whenever any pathogen, I told you earlier, whenever any pathogen enter inside a body, it is automatic that against that antigen antibodies will be formed. But if only one time exposure of antigen is there, then the low intensity antibodies they are formed. So it is said to be the primary response, means when the low intensity antibodies are formed in a body for the first time exposure of the microbe, then it is said to be the primary response. Okay, now after that, again and again, if antigen or microbes it is, or foreign body is entering inside a body, then many of the antibodies, means million of antibodies will be formed inside a body, and then it is said to be the secondary response. Okay, so subsequent enter by same pathogen produce highly intensified response called secondary response. Now after the secondary response, the number of antibodies will be sufficient to fight against the disease causing microbes. Okay, so this secondary response is also said to be anamnestic response, right? And this is due to the memory of the first encounter. So memory term, I think it is clear to you. Memory means when first encounter of microbes is there, then a body memorize it that this microbes has entered in a body, and how it memorized by the production of antibodies. So when second time encounter will be there, then again these memory cell knows that this organism has encountered here in the second time, and this result in the formation of more antibodies. So this type of response is said to be the secondary response. Okay, so here the memory is the characteristics of acquired immunity, which is not found in innate immunity. Now here again the acquired immunity, it is further divided into active immunity and passive immunity, right? So active immunity, it develop in response to an infection or vaccination, and passive immunity develop after you receive antibody from someone or somewhere else. Now active immunity is further divided into natural and artificial, I told you. So natural means antibodies develop inside your body after the response of the infection, and artificial means you are from the name it is clear that antibodies developed in response to a vaccination. If you are providing the vaccination and then the antibodies they are developing, then it is said to be the artificial active immunity. Now passive immunity, natural, antibody received from the mother. You know children, in mother ready-made antibody is received by the child for not for the lifetime, for during the small period of time this antibody is received, but these antibodies when enter inside the baby, it works for a whole life. So later on I'll tell you that colostrum which is present in the milk of first milk of the mother, it is rich in these antibodies IgA. Okay, I'll tell you later on when we will discuss this acquired immunity in detail. Now here passive immunity. So antibody received from mother, example through breast milk, it is the example of natural passive immunity. That means the ready-made immunity is getting to a baby. Now the artificial passive immunity, antibody, ready-made antibody is given to a patient or any organism in the form of medicine, right? So this is the example of artificial passive immunity. Now acquired immunity. Now we will discuss acquired immunity in detail. Children, you know, primary and secondary responses are carried out with the help of B lymphocyte and T lymphocyte. What is B lymphocyte and T lymphocyte? B lymphocyte, children, they are formed in a bone marrow. It is type of lymphocytes or white blood cells, right, which are present in a blood. So B lymphocyte and T lymphocytes, they are also said to be the helper. Actually the B lymphocyte, they play important role in the immune system, and T lymphocytes only help B lymphocyte in acting. Okay, so in your book it is written that the B lymphocyte produce an army of protein in response to pathogen. So whenever pathogen enter in a body, then these B lymphocyte which are present in the bone marrow, they come into the blood and they form a army of proteins which are said to be the antibodies, and these antibodies fight those antigen or the microbes by destroying them. Okay, and here very important thing to note that T lymphocyte, they do not secrete any type of antibody. Okay, it is very important, though they are lymphocyte but they do not secrete lymphocyte. Indirectly they help B lymphocyte in secreting the antibodies. Okay, now two types of lymphocytes which are involved in different type of responses. Two responses you will study in your book. Humoral immune response. Humoral means response which is present in the body fluid, that is blood. Blood is said to be the humor. So that is why the response is said, because blood is involved here, so it is said to be the humoral immune response, or it is also said to be HI. And T lymphocyte, it is helpful in cell mediated immunity response. So B lymphocyte, they are involved in humoral immune response, and T lymphocyte, they are involved in this cell mediated immunity response. Okay, now here one diagram is there in which you are seeing that immune system, it is classified into innate immunity and acquired immunity, and acquired immunity is further divided into cell mediated immunity and humoral immunity. In cell mediated immunity, the role of T cells, that is T lymphocytes, they are there, and in humoral immunity the role of B lymphocyte or B cells, they are there. So here now we will study about the structure of antibody. Okay, so children, I told you that antibody, they are nothing, they are the protein molecules. Okay, and you know children, protein molecules, they are made up of amino acids. Okay, and here the main thing is to note that the amino acids which are involved in the production of antibody, they are mainly sulfur containing antibodies, which are namely cysteine and methionine, right? And the structure of amino acids you already studied, and polypeptide chain you already studied in class 11th in the chapter biomolecule, and you all are familiar with the structure of amino acids and how they join to form a polypeptide chain. Now if we study the antibody structure, you know children, the antibodies, they are the protein molecules, as again and again I told you earlier, right? And these protein molecules, they are said to be immunoglobulins. I told you earlier that immunoglobulins, they are the glycoproteins. right? And these antibodies, they are of various type: IgA, IgM, IgE and IgE. Different type of antibodies, they are present in body, and according to the microbes these antibodies work, right? So IgA work for different microbes, IgM work from different microbes, IgE for different, and IgE for different. Sorry. Each antibody molecule, if you see the diagram of the antibody molecule, it consists of 4 polypeptide chain, okay? And these polypeptide chain, here you are seeing in the diagram that one long chain is there. This is blue color long chain, okay? One long chain is there, sorry, 2 long chains are there, 2 blue color chains they are there, and 2 small chain are there. So these blue color long chain, they are said to be heavy chain, okay? And this green color, light green and dark green color, they are said to be the light chains. So 2 chains in the shape of Y is there. That is why antibody is said to be H2L2, where H2 means 2 heavy chains and L2 means 2 light chains, okay? So here this is the structure of antibody molecule, and this with this serrated structure it is there, and this is the actually antigen binding site. So whenever any microbes come, it get attached with this antigen binding sites, okay? And one very important thing, this yellow color structure, these are actually the sulfur bonds, okay? Disulfide bonds which are present in the this antibody molecule. So these disulfide bond form a bridges. So here you are seeing that in this diagram here, one yellow color bridge is there between the heavy chain and the light chain. So this bridge is said to be the this is the intersulfur bridge. So this is the, because it is between the heavy chain and the light chain, okay? Now here you are seeing this is the bridge is also between the 2 same chains. Here these sulfur bridges, these disulfide bridges, they are present within the same chain, okay? And now I have shown you here that it is written here that cysteine and methionine, they are the amino acid, that are sulfur containing amino acids which form the amino acid. So one here important thing which is not there in the diagram, if you see your NCERT book, here in antigen binding site, here N terminus is there, okay? And here the C terminus is there. So N terminus and C terminus, what does it mean? When you have studied the structure of polypeptide chain, you know that the end with a carboxylic acid group, it is said to be the C terminus, and the end with the amino group, it is said to be the N terminus. So here N and C means N terminus of the polypeptide chain, and C means C terminus of the polypeptide chain. So here small polypeptide chain is there, where you are seeing the N terminal and the C terminal. So all these things you have studied in class 11th in the chapter biomolecule, where you have studied the structure of proteins and the amino acids, okay? I think the structure of antibody, it is clear to you children. It is very, very important for your examination, the structure, to draw the structure of antibody. It generally comes in your examination, and you also have to remember how many sulfur bridges they are there, intra as well as intersulfur bridges, which are present between the heavy chain and the light chain. So here you are seeing 2 sulfur bridges, right? 2 sulfur bridges they are there, and two sulfur bridges which are present in between the heavy chain and the light chain, that is the intersulfur bridges, disulfide bridges, and two intersulfur disulfide bridges you are seeing in the heavy chain. Okay, so remember this structure, it is very important, so keep this thing in mind. Okay, again see the structure. How many chains? They are light chains. Two chains, they are light. How many heavy chains which are blue in color? They are the heavy chain. Okay, so that is why the structure of antibody, it is said to be H2 L2, because H stand for heavy, two heavy chains, and L stand for light, that is two light chains they are there, and these chains, they are interconnected by means of sulfur bridges which may be inter or intra. So if the sulfur bridges is present between the heavy chain and the light chain, then it is said to be the intersulfur bridges, and if it is present between the heavy chain, then it is said to be the intrasulfur bridge. Okay, disulfide bridges, they are there. And what is C terminus and N terminus? C terminus stand, it is present in the antigen binding site, and N terminus is present near the antigen binding site. And what is antigen binding site? Antigen binding site is a site where the microbes get attached itself, and this antibody kill that microbe when it get attached with the antigen binding site. Okay, and C terminus, right? Which are the two amino acids which makes the antibody molecules? They are cysteine and methionine, because they contain sulfur. Okay, so this is the structure of antibody. It is very, very important for your examination. Now children, we will discuss about the type of immunity. Based on the type of immune cell acting against the antigen, immunity can be classified into two types: humoral immunity and cell mediated immunity. Right? Now, why humoral name is given to the humoral immunity? Humoral immunity is named so because it involves substance found in the humus or body fluid. You know, body fluids include blood and lymph. So humoral immunity mainly involve the blood, therefore because it involves the body fluid, that is why name is given humoral. Humoral means, humor means body fluids. Okay, so the immunity which is mediated by which type of antibodies? B lymphocytes. So here B lymphocytes, they mediate the immunity, then it is said to be the humoral immunity. And the immunity in which the helper cell or T lymphocytes, right, they help in providing immunity, then it is said to be the cell mediated immunity. So once I will read the definition. Humoral immunity, the immunity which is mediated by antibodies produced by B lymphocytes. Children, you know B lymphocytes, they are produced in bone marrow, and then it comes into the blood, and then they act. Okay, and C mediated lymphocyte, T lymphocytes, they are again synthesis in the bone marrow, but they travel into the thymus gland, and then they help B lymphocyte to act by directly attaching itself to the antigen. So it is said to be the cell mediated immunity. Now here, graft rejection, it is again very important. What happens, children, during organ when we transplant the organ? We studied earlier that certain immunosuppressant they are given. What is the function of these immunosuppressant? They suppresses our immune system, because our immune system is not ready to take the external tissue or cells. That is why matching of blood and matching of blood group is essential before undertaking any graft. If suppose graft, which if somebody asks which is the best graft to be transplant, so if identical twins are there, so one twins can give graft to a other twins, that will be the best graft, because here the genetic makeup of both the twins, it is quite similar, right? And after the identical twins, you can say if siblings, means if sister and brother, they can give the organ which has to be transplanted from one person to another. And if siblings are not there, then parents can give, right? So if we are taking graft from any other person, then the chances of graft rejection, it is there in a body. That is why immunosuppressant it is given, so that the immune system will not act and it will not reject the graft. Okay, earlier in the chapter microbes in human welfare, we studied about cyclosporin A, which is derived from the fungus trichoderma, and this cyclosporin A acts as a very good immunosuppressant. Okay, so it is given during the organ transplantation, so that it can suppress our immune system, so that graft can be easily accepted by a body. Okay, so cell mediated immune response is there, that is responsible for the graft rejection. It is very important. It can come in your MCQs, multiple choice question, that is which immune is responsible for the graft rejection. So it is cell mediated immune response. Okay, now we will study about the active and passive immunity, children. So based on the nature of antibody, immunity is divided into active immunity as well as passive immunity. As the name suggests, active means your body is active while this immunity is there. Okay, so whenever any host is exposed to a antigen, when any microbes, you are exposed to any microbes, and when that microbes it get inside your body, and antibodies they are formed in response to that microbes, then this type of immunity is said to be active immunity. Means you are not acquiring immunity from any other source. When this microbes is entering inside your body, automatically these antibodies they are forming inside your body, right? So this is, your body is very much active. It is actively acting, so that antibodies they are produced against that antigen. That is why name active immunity is given to this type of immunity. Passive immunity, and one important thing about active immunity, as active immunity, it is active immunity, it is quite slow process. That means when this active immunity is there, then it take little bit time to develop the antibodies, because here what happens actually, whenever any antigen enter inside a body, the T lymphocyte help B lymphocyte to produce the antibodies. Now this antibodies goes into the blood, and now in this antibodies, and from antigen binding side, the antigen get bind and then it get destroyed. So it take little bit time. So active immunity, it is quite a slow process, right? And in passive immunity, you are giving the ready-made antibodies. So immediate action is there in the this type of immunity, because a body don't have to make any antibodies. So it is a quite fast process, or this immunity is quite fast, because we are giving a ready-made antibodies, and it is directly protecting our bodies. Suppose when snake venom is there, or if any person has eaten any poison is there, food poisoning is there, or anything is there, any toxic substance is there, then what will happen, the ready-made antibodies is given to a person, and it will immediately act on that venom, and hence it will destroy that venom. Okay, and it will save person from the adverse effect of that particular toxin. So passive immunity, it works very fast. In active immunity, first the B lymphocyte will come, then B lymphocyte will make an antibody, and then this antigen will get bind to that antibody, and then it will be killed. So it is quite means it is a long process in comparison to passive immunity. Okay, so example of passive immunity, the yellowish fluid colostrum, which I told you earlier, that is, it is secreted by mother during the initial day of lactation. So now it is suggested by the doctor that the first milk should always be given to a child because it contains colostrum, which is abundant in antibodies IgA. This is very important. Keep this thing in mind. IgA, which type of antibody is found in colostrum? So it is IgA, I capital, G small and A antibody, and it protect the infant for a lifetime from many diseases. So here it is very important, and it is the example of passive immunity because here the ready-made antibody is getting inside the body of the baby. Okay, so no exposure to microbes is resulting in the formation of this production of antibody IgE. That is why this is the example of passive immunity, because here the mother is directly giving the ready-made antibody to a baby. Okay, so this is the example of passive immunity. So here active immunity, it is divided into natural and artificial immunity. Active immunity, I told you that naturally when infecting agent will be there, then again the B lymphocyte will work and it will form the antibody, and these antibody will bind to an antigen and then it will destroy the antigen, right? So naturally entire this process takes place. Artificially, when we are giving the inactive microbes or killed microbes, right, or weakened microbes to a person body, then again these microbes will give the body will give the primary response, and then these antigens in response to these antigen, antibodies will be synthesized. So this is the active artificial immunity. So vaccination is the example of active artificial immunity. Now passive immunity, I told you, it is further divided into natural. So example of natural is maternal antibody as colostrum, I told you, and artificial passive immunity is monoclonal antibodies. So what are these monoclonal antibodies? They are the immune system protein that is created, and these antibodies are produced naturally by a body with the help of immune system, and they recognize the disease causing germs and they kill the bacteria and viruses, resulting in the destruction of these. So these monoclonal antibodies, they are synthesized, right? They are synthesized ready-made antibodies, and they will work directly. I want to say that they will work directly without the production of any antibody inside a body, because we are synthesizing the antibodies outside a body, right? So this is the example of artificial passive immunity. So in passive immunity, we are giving ready-made antibodies to a person, and in active immunity, indirectly antibodies they are forming inside a body. So here there is a difference between active immunity and passive immunity. Active immunity is a permanent immunity produced by the antibodies of the host in response to a direct contact of an antigen. It is clear very much, I think. Passive immunity is a short-term immunity produced by the introduction of antibodies from outside. So here it is very important, it is permanent immunity because it is due to the entry of any antigen or the foreign body inside a body. And passive immunity, it is a short-term immunity because we are giving the ready-made antibodies. Okay. Immunity does not occur immediately. A time lag occurs for this development. I told you earlier that the entire process is there. So time lag occur for its development. Immunity develop immediately. Why it is developed immediately? Because we are giving the ready-made antibodies, so there is no time lag. Okay. So in active immunity, time lag is there. In passive immunity, no time lag is there. In active immunity, memory should be there, so it is characterized by the presence of memory. So here no memory, because here we are giving the antibodies, we are not giving the antigens, we are giving the antibody. so it doesn't generate immunological memory. Okay, so passive immunity doesn't generate immunological memory, while active immunity generate immunological memory. Now, when the antigen enter the body naturally, antibodies and specialized lymphocytes are induced by the body. Okay, so here this is for active immunity, and for passive immunity, antibodies are passed from mother to a fetus through a placenta and infant via mother. So through placenta also the antibodies, they are passed from mother to fetus and via milk. As I told you, IgA is the antibody and IgG is the antibody which is passed to the fetus through placenta. So IgG is the antibody which is passed from a mother to a fetus through placenta. Okay, so this is the specific type of antibody, and while IgA is the antibody which is passed from infant from mother milk. Okay, so active immunity, no side effects. Sometime reaction may cause because we are giving the ready-made antibodies, so sometime reactions may occur in passive immunity. Now we will study about vaccination and immunization. Okay, so children, you all are familiar about the term vaccination and immunization. So what is vaccination? So studied in 9th class, so just for a revision we are studying it. Vaccination is the process of introduction of vaccine into the body to produce antibodies against the antigen. Okay, to neutralize the effect of pathogen during actual infection. So vaccination program is there. So several vaccines, when you were kid, several vaccines should be given to you, and that vaccine are given to you to protect you from various microbial activity or various microorganism. Okay, sometime the vaccination which is given in early stages of life, it is for lifetime, and sometime you have to give the booster doses of those vaccines, right? So you can relate this vaccination from primary responses as well as secondary responses. Okay, so in vaccination we generally give dead and weakened pathogen, they are introduced into the body. So vaccination, you can say it is the artificial active immunity, because we are giving dead and weakened pathogen inside a body. Okay, so this is the example of acquired immunity, that is the active acquired immunity. Okay, so these dead and weakened germ which we give in the form of vaccines, it neutralizes the pathogenic activity by producing the antibodies. You all are familiar with that. Whenever antigen it will get inside, so these antigen, as they are weakened, but they are capable of producing, if keep this thing in mind, if any of the antigen will enter inside a body, then antibody will definitely be produced in a body. Whether the antigen is very much weakened or dead, then whenever the pathogen, any means, if pathogen is in any form, it will enter inside a body, then against it the antibody, they will be definitely formed in a body. So when these dead and weakened pathogens enter inside a body, so against these dead and weakened pathogen, antibodies, they are formed. Sometimes antibodies which are formed, they are sufficient for further prevention of infection. Sometimes we have to give twice or thrice the vaccine again and again to produce sufficient amount of antibodies, so that that disease cannot be occur during the lifetime. Okay, so here it is a table. You all have that medical card in which when you were, this is the vaccination or immunization schedule, right? And you all have gone through this immunization schedule, right? Your mother, parents, they have gone through, right? And they have given you this immunization. Okay, so this is the immunization routine, immunization schedule. Okay, now immunization is the process where preformed antibodies, So in vaccination we are, so major difference in vaccination, we are giving you a dead and weakened germs, while in immunization we are giving you preformed antibodies. Here, that means this immunization is the example of artificial passive immunity. Okay, artificial passive immunity. So immunization is the process where preformed antibodies, here preformed word is very important, antibody, keep this thing in mind. In vaccination we were giving dead and weakened germs. So when this preformed antibody injection, here they have given the example that preformed antibody, it is given against snake venom. Because if we will give dead and weakened germ in case of, because venom, it is not caused by any germ. Okay, it is a toxin which is produced by the snake. So from that snake venom only, that this antibody or antidote, it is prepared. So snake venom, if we will give the little bit dose of venom, and then the antibodies will be produced, and these antibodies, they will bind with the antigen. So it entire process will take a time, and this snake venom, if it is very much poisonous, then the person may die. That is why we are giving a preformed antibodies, so that immediate action should be there and person life can be saved. Now here, later on I'll tell, when I'll teach you biotechnology, I'll teach you about recombinant DNA technology. It is very important part of biotechnology, right? So using recombinant DNA technology, we can make many this proteins, that is antigenic proteins, or antigens, you can say antigenic proteins, from pathogenic bacteria and yeast. By various bacteria and yeast we can make antigenic polypeptide or proteins, and by giving these proteins we can save the life of person. Okay, so here example of vaccine it is given, that is hepatitis B vaccine, right? And hepatitis B vaccine, it is produced from the yeast, though this hepatitis B, it is not caused by the yeast, yet it can be with the help of DNA recombinant technology or genetic engineering, the vaccine can be produced from yeast. Okay, detailed information I'll give you when I'll teach you the chapter this biotechnology. When I'll tell you when I'll teach you the chapter biotechnology, then I'll give you the detailed information how these vaccines they are produced. Now we are going to study the new term, that is allergy. You all are familiar with the allergy. Nowadays it is very much common, as a immune system day by day, by a this non-healthy lifestyle, immune system, it is getting very much weak. So we are affected by these allergies very much. Okay, now what are these allergies? So allergies, they are exaggerated, means very high intensity response. Exaggerated means high intensity response, means very high response of immune system. Now normally generally what happens, your immune system, it means moderate intensity of your immune system is there, but due to some foreign body, your body become hyperactive, or it show a very high intensity response to that particular agent. So this is said to be the allergy. Okay, so allergy, the definition of allergy is the exaggerated response of immune to certain antigens, right? And these antigens, they are present in the environment. They may be pollen and allergy, it is very much common. Sometimes it may be due to mites, it may be due to dust, it may be due to change in, means environment, means changes of season is there, then again your body sometimes becomes susceptible to allergy. Okay, so allergy is nothing, it is not a disease, right? It is a response of the immune system, right? And these antigens which are capable of causing allergy, they are said to be allergens. Okay, and the antibodies produced in the allergies, it is of IgE types. Okay, this you have to remember. Now, why this allergy they are caused? What happen actually? Sometime what happen when you move from one place to another? Then you say that this environment, it is not suiting to me, and certain responses of body which doesn't suits you, it comes in your body, like continuous coughing is there, sometimes wheezing is there, breathing problem is there, sometimes rashes is there in your body, right? So what happens actually in allergy, why these allergy they are caused? So these allergy are caused due to the secretion of certain substances, and these substances, they are said to be histamine and serotonin, right? This is very important, underline it. Type of antibody which are produced during the allergy, they are IgE. Already we have studied about IgA, which is present in colostrum of milk of mother, right? And IgG, which is produced in placenta, right? And this IgE, which is produced in allergies, right? So two chemicals, they are mainly responsible for allergies, they are namely histamine and serotonin. Okay, and these histamine and serotonin, they are secreted from the mast cells. Now the question arises, what are mast cells? Mast cells, they originate from the bone marrow. You know, children, the long bones like femur, all these long bones, they have bone marrow. Okay, and these bone marrow are responsible for the synthesis of red blood cells as well as white blood cells and various type of lymphocytes. So mast cells, they originate from the bone marrow, and they are the cell filled with the basophil granules, type of white blood cells, you know, children. So these are filled with basophil granule, and they are found in connective tissue, right? And these mast cells, they are responsible for the release of histamine and serotonin, which are responsible for allergies. Okay, so these mast cells, they are the cells, mainly the basophil granules, and which are responsible for the release of or the secretion of chemicals like histamine and serotonin, which are responsible for allergies. Okay, now symptoms of allergy reaction, you all are familiar with. Most of the children nowadays, they are allergic to one or other substance. Generally dust allergy is most, and pollen allergy, it is very much common, right? So what are the symptoms of allergic reactions? Symptom of allergic reaction, it include sneezing, watery eyes, running nose, difficulty in breathing, right? And how you will come to know that any person is allergic to particular type of substance? So the person, how will you diagnose it? So certain diagnosis method, they are there. A small amount of allergen, suppose the doctor thinks that you are allergic of particular type of pollen, right? So a small amount of different allergens, they will be introduced in your body, right? And small doses of those allergen, and then you doctor come to know that you are allergic for which type of allergen or which type of substance that is present in the environment. Now various drugs, they are given to protect you from these types of allergy. So these are antihistamine, because you know, children, mast cells secrete histamine and serotonin, and these are responsible for allergies, right? So antihistamine, adrenaline and steroids, they are given to a person, because sometimes these allergies, they are life threatening. Okay, so these drugs, they are given, right, to reduce the symptoms of allergy. So keep this thing in mind: antihistamine, adrenaline, and steroids. Okay. Now here in this picture, various symptoms of allergies, they are there. Coughing is there, itchy nose, sometimes continuously itching is there in your nose, runny nose is there, breathing problem, wheezing is there, a particular type of sound, it is there, right? Sometimes blister appears in your body parts. Edema means the swelling of your body parts takes place.